Years ago, I was working on a gambling boat, and there was a man sitting at one of the tables, dealing cards and cutting them with one hand. I watched him for a while and got curious, so I approached him. And I asked him what he was doing. He said, "Well, you see, I'm actually practicing." He says, "I've learned over the years how to cut to any card in the deck just using my one hand and my fingers. I've developed a sensitivity." I said, "Well, really, would you demonstrate?" He said, "Absolutely." He goes, "For instance, I can cut to any of the aces in the deck." And he picked up that deck in his one hand and gave it a cut, just like that. And when he turned the card over, it was one of the aces. I said, "That's pretty neat. Can you do it again?" He said, "Well, absolutely. As I said, I've developed this technique. All I need you to do is make sure there's no ace on the top, make sure there's no ace on the bottom, and I can cut to the second ace." And when he said that, he turned the card over, and indeed it was the second ace. I said, "Well, can I ask you a question? Can you do it face up?" He kind of shrugged and said, "Well, face up or face down doesn't really matter to me. Usually in a game we don't cut cards face up, but just for you, I will show you that it really doesn't matter. The technique works whether the deck is face up or the deck is face down." And he cut to the third ace. I was really fascinated at this point. I said, "I tell you what, how about a little wager?" The man kind of shrugged and said, "Well, it's your money to lose. What were you thinking?" I said, "I say $50 and you can't cut to the fourth and final ace." He said, "My friend, I'll take your bet." Once again, he had me look at the bottom and the top of the deck to make sure that the ace wasn't there. And he cut to a card. Well, I was a little bit nervous, but I turned the card over. And I said, "Ha! That's not an ace. You owe me $50. The stranger said, "Well, not so fast. You see, this is my locator card. If you count down 3 from this card, you'll find that fourth and final ace." I went ahead and counted the cards out. But when I got to the third card, I thought, if this is an ace, I lose $50. So I thought I'd be slick, and I took that ace and palmed it and turned over the next card. I said, "Well, you owe me $50. The stranger kind of shrugged and he reached into his pocket, I thought for his money. But he pulled out a knife and slammed the blade between my fingers, the card, and the table. And he said, "My friend, if that there is not that fourth and final ace, not only will I apologize to you, but I'll give you $100. Well, when I went to turn the card over, sure enough, it was the fourth and final ace. He looked at me and said, "Son, never try to cheat a cheater at his own game, because that is how I lost my other hand."